Welcome to Lexcura Clinical Insights, the podcast where clinical evidence, healthcare standards, and litigation strategy come together. I'm Michelle Carroll, founder and chief clinical strategist of Lexcura Summit. The Physician Certified Plan of Care is the governing clinical document in home health. It establishes what services must be delivered, how often they should occur, and the clinical purpose behind them. When the agency departs from that plan without a documented clinical reason, an updated order, or timely physician notification, the deviation may become a central breach issue. In this episode, I will explain how to compare the plan of care with the visit records, identify undocumented changes or missing services, and build the liability analysis around non-compliance with physician orders. Okay, so here's something to think about. The CMS Form 485, the Plan of Care for Medicare Home Health Patients, is essentially a physician's order. But did you know that any deviation from it, no matter how small, can actually be considered a breach of that order?
Oh, that's fascinating. I think most people assume the plan of care is more like a guideline, something flexible. But if it's a physician's order, that changes everything, doesn't it?
Exactly. It's not a suggestion or a roadmap, it's a directive. And when agencies fail to follow it, whether that's delivering fewer visits than ordered, skipping interventions, or changing protocols without authorization, they're not just making a mistake, they're violating a medical directive. And that's where litigation comes into play.
So, what makes this document so central to home healthcare cases? I mean, why is it the anchor for everything?
Well, the CMS Form 485, also known as the Home Health Certification and Plan of Care, governs every Medicare home health episode. It's incredibly detailed. It includes the patient's diagnoses, the start and end dates of the care episode, all services ordered, and their frequencies, medications, treatments, functional goals, safety instructions, and, most importantly, the physician's signature. That signature certifies that the services are medically necessary and that the plan reflects the patient's needs.
And that signature really is the key, isn't it? It's the physician saying, this is what the patient requires, and this is what the agency is obligated to deliver. So when there's a deviation, it's not just a clinical issue, it's a legal one.
Exactly. And what's so compelling is how documentable these deviations are. You have the plan of care on one side and the visit logs or nursing notes on the other. Any mismatch between the two, without proper documentation or physician authorization, becomes your evidence of a breach. It's simple, but it's incredibly powerful in litigation.
That's such a critical point. Let's talk about the different types of deviations. What are the most common ones you see?
The most straightforward type is visit frequency deviation. For example, if the plan of care orders 3 skilled nursing visits per week, but the visit log shows only 2 visits per week for 6 weeks, that's a clear numerical discrepancy. You were supposed to have 18 visits, but only 12 were delivered. That's 6 visits unaccounted for, and it's a pure numbers game.
And that's such an easy argument to make because it's just math. You compare what was ordered to what was delivered, and any gap becomes your breach. But what about more nuanced deviations like omitted interventions?
Those are a bit trickier, but just as important. Let's say the plan of care specifies wound care teaching, medication reconciliation, and gait training. If the nursing notes only document medication review, 2 out of 3 interventions are missing. That's not just an oversight. It's a failure to deliver the care that was ordered.
And those omissions require a deeper understanding of what each intervention entails and what adequate documentation looks like. But once you identify the absence, the argument is clear. The physician ordered it, the agency didn't deliver it, and there's no documented reason why.
Then there's protocol modification without authorization. This is where things get even more interesting. Let's say the plan of care specifies a particular wound care protocol, including a specific product and technique. If the nursing notes show that a different product or technique was used without physician authorization, that's a breach, even if the substitution seemed clinically reasonable at the time.
And that's such a critical point. The agency isn't operating independently. They're executing a physician's orders. Any deviation without authorization undermines that relationship and the regulatory framework designed to protect patients. It's not just a clinical issue, it's a systemic one.
And let's not forget unilateral frequency reductions. This is when an agency reduces visit frequency for non-clinical reasons, like staffing or scheduling issues, without notifying the physician or updating the plan of care. That's not discretion, that's operational convenience overriding medical necessity.
And it's such a red flag. If the patient's condition hasn't improved to justify the reduction, and there's no documentation or physician notification, it's a clear breach. Agencies don't have the authority to make those decisions unilaterally.
Now, not every deviation is actionable. There are justified deviations, like when a nurse assesses a patient and determines that their condition has improved. In those cases, the nurse documents the findings, notifies the physician, and gets authorization to modify the plan of care. That's a defensible clinical adjustment.
But the key is documentation. Without clinical rationale, physician notification, and an updated plan of care, any deviation becomes unjustified. It's the absence of those elements that turns a frequency reduction or protocol change into a breach.
And that's where the comparison methodology comes in. You start by obtaining every CMS 485 for the claim period, then the visit logs and nursing notes. You compare the ordered services with the delivered ones, calculate any gaps, and look for clinical justifications or physician communication during those gap periods.
It's such a methodical process, but it's incredibly effective. By documenting everything in a comparative table, ordered frequency, delivered frequency, gaps, justifications, physician notifications, you create a visual breach record that's easy to understand, even for a jury.
And that's the beauty of it. You don't need clinical expertise to grasp the significance of those gaps once they're laid out in a table. But it does take clinical expertise to construct that table and identify the deviations.
So what are the key takeaways for attorneys handling these cases? First, always get every CMS 485 for the entire claim period. You need the governing document for each 60-day episode. Second, request the visit log explicitly. It's just as important as the nursing notes. Third, use the comparison methodology to build a breach record. And fourth, distinguish between different types of deviations: visit frequency gaps, omitted interventions, protocol modifications, and develop each argument separately.
And don't forget about physician notification records. If the physician wasn't informed about deviations, the agency was operating in isolation. That's a systemic failure and a critical point in litigation.
The plan of care really is the anchor of every home health case. It's not just a clinical document, it's a legal one. And when agencies fail to follow it, the evidence is right there in the record.
It's a fascinating topic with so many layers. I think we've only scratched the surface, but it's clear how crucial this analysis is for healthcare litigation.
Absolutely. It's a reminder of how important the details are in these cases and how powerful a well-constructed argument can be when it's grounded in clinical intelligence.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for diving into this with me.
Thank you. Until next time.
Thank you for listening to Lex Cura Clinical Insights. In a plan of care deviation case, the analysis begins by establishing exactly what the physician ordered. The certified plan, subsequent verbal or written orders, recertifications, visit frequency instructions, and discipline-specific care requirements must then be compared with what the agency actually delivered. The visit notes, scheduling records, missed visit documentation, communication logs, and physician notifications should show whether any departure was clinically justified, properly authorized, and timely documented. When the record shows that ordered care was reduced, delayed, changed, or omitted without appropriate justification or physician involvement, the deviation may support a clear breach analysis. The final step is connecting that non-compliance to the monitoring, treatment, or intervention the patient did not receive, and to the harm that followed. For more clinical intelligence, litigation analysis, and practical guidance, visit LexCura Summit at lexcurasummit.com. I'm Michelle Carroll. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next episode of LexCura Clinical Insights.